Steal from the garden? Here, I brought you dinner. Not my story but my nanny's, and this happened decades ago. I caught up with my nanny recently and I was reminded of this story. The dialogue isn't accurate, obviously, but hopefully you'll get the gist of it. My siblings and I had a part-time nanny growing up since both our parents worked. Her job was to pick us up from school in the afternoon, drive us to after-school activities, bring us home, and prepare dinner. We lived in a subdivision where my parents owned two pieces of property, one property where our house stood, and an empty lot next door. The empty lot wasn't fenced in, and it's essentially a bare piece of property. This subdivision is considered small, only 60 properties, allowing everyone to know each other. My parents moved there in the first year of their marriage and were literally one of the first families that ever lived there. Nanny started working for us when my oldest brother came into the picture, and stayed with us for over 25 years before she retired. Everyone in the subdivision knew her and loved her. Nanny loved to garden, and my parents gave her carte blanche on the empty lot. She cared for that garden so much, and we had a lot of fresh vegetables and fruit growing up. Nanny could take home as much produce as she wanted as well. One day, Nanny started to notice that her harvest was decreasing and couldn't figure out why. There were bananas that she was sure was there a week ago that were now gone, the only harvest left were the ones that were already turning brown, etc. After finding out Nanny's concerns, my dad installed CCTV cameras along our perimeter fence that looked out to the empty lot where Nanny's garden stands. Sure enough, the CCTV catches a neighbor stealing Nanny's hard-earned harvest. It was a new neighbor, Karen, who was treating our garden as her own personal produce section. Karen steals at the oddest hours too, when no one could see her, think 5 a.m., 11 p.m. Well, that didn't sit well with Nanny. We give away produce to our neighbors. If they ask for some, Nanny will give them away. The keyword, however, is that they ask, not steal. So what does Nanny do? When Nanny was sure that Karen was the thief, she cooked an extra large serving of dinner one night and took some over to Karen's house. Her young son answered the door, possibly 8 to 10 years old, and Nanny asked for Karen. When Karen came to the door, Nanny in a loud voice said, "I brought you dinner since I noticed that you've been helping yourself to our garden recently. I didn't want you or your children to go hungry." Karen was obviously red in the face and shut the door quickly, without getting the food Nanny was offering. She missed out cause Nanny was an amazing cook. Her son was right by the door watching the exchange too. It didn't stop there. Since Nanny knew a lot of people in the neighborhood and people loved her back, she connived with some other people to bring Karen dinner for the next 3 days. On the 4th day, Karen's husband dropped by the house and apologized for Karen's behavior and offered to compensate Nanny for whatever Karen stole. As far as I know, no one messed with Nanny ever again. Info 1. This is in Southeast Asia. Info 2. When this happened, the garden was at least 13 to 15 years old and thriving. We had more than plenty for my and Nanny's family. We would typically give away whatever bounty we had to friends, family, and including neighbors. Nanny was an urban farmer before urban farmers were a thing. Info 3. We didn't fence in the empty lot because, 1, we never saw the need to. It was a small development, and typically couples would buy multiple lots, build on one, and save the rest of the properties for their children when they get married and have families of their own. Even now, the area is only 75 to 80% developed. I reckon there were only approximately 30 owners in total. 2. Fencing the lot would classify the property as a home instead of just a lot under Homeowners Association rules. The annual Homeowners Association dues for a home is 2x the Homeowners Association dues for a lot. Not worth it. Petty revenge on a school bully. Back when I was in high school, I was often the target of bullies. I was never the one to stick up for myself because my confidence was really low at the time. Out of all my bullies, there was this one girl, we will call her Becky. Becky would pretend to be my friend and then out of the blue just be a B to me. Sometimes she would even get physical and hit me but then claim it's a joke. One day, she was being more mean than usual. She was making fun of my family for being on benefits and my dad having a health issue. I can't stand people bitching about my family. So when she told me to fill her water bottle up, I did just that. But not with drinking water. I went into the girls' toilets and put her bottle under the water, in the toilet bowl. I filled her bottle to the top, with water from the actual toilet. It hadn't been used. I returned to the classroom and handed her the bottle, somehow without laughing. I sat down and watched with eagerness. She drank the whole thing within like 5 to 10 minutes. I felt amazing and she never found out. I still see her quite often, she works in my local store. She's a college dropout. I am still in university and studying hard. She comes from a financially stable home and I come from a home in poverty. You don't know how good it makes me feel to see myself making it in life when I came from circumstances that were not in my odds. So to my bullies, thank you for fueling my fire to succeed. Thanks for watching and don't forget to give a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Have a good one.